Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aquarius. If Aquarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so this is a bonus reading for Aquarius, and our card tonight is the Nine of Wands, which has everything to do with strength and hopefully coming to some confidence in a situation that might be, maybe a little uncomfortable. All right, let's go ahead and take a look and see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. And so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. So immediately I'm like, okay, there's kind of a really glum feeling here. Maybe not so happy. Maybe feeling a little bit down recently. Okay, so we're going to start we're going to start right in here. So we have, it looks like a lion with a really sad looking face. Look at the little eyes, the nose, kind of a little frown, right? And you can see here's the head, here's the body. Oh, we have a little eye right here, you can see. Okay. We also have, it looks like a person who's holding a sword. You can see the little hat there, the body. Here's their little leg, a sword or some kind of, I don't know, a dagger or something. And it feels like you've been in some kind of conflict with somebody or a group of people. This has been verbal for the most part, right? I think this has been kind of a going back and forth, right? Kind of, some kind of heated rhetoric or debate happening, some kind of, I don't know, I imagine it's almost kind of trying to get something done. Maybe you have hired somebody to do some kind of work for you. Maybe it's even like something around the house or in the yard or to do with your vehicle almost. Maybe it has something to do with that. But it's almost kind of like pulling teeth, trying to get this thing going, trying to get it done. And it feels like you're getting to a point where you're beyond frustrated. You're kind of just, almost resolved to this thing not going your way, right? And you just want to get as much of it done as you can, right? Not a total failure, maybe not to the level of expectation that you've had. You're just tired of the back and forth. You just want it to just go smoothly. Why can't it go smoothly? And I do feel like it is. It's bringing up this kind of just generally feeling disconnected, maybe a little bit, I don't know, defeated, I think. But I think this is just kind of the last straw, right? It's not the whole thing. It's not the whole picture. I feel like this has to do with generally life stuff. It's kind of a cumulative effect going on here. And I just feel like it's kind of, it's like if you were telling people, I just feel off. Okay, I just feel off today, or this week or this month or whatever. And I just need a break. That's the big thing that keeps coming to mind. I just need a break from all of this. It's too much. It's gotten overwhelming, right? And I think it is. It's kind of this like driver that turns on, right? That's kind of like, okay, so now we need to protect our peace. So let's get it together, Aquarius. Let's get back into a place where we're not in this conflict, where I'm not kind of maybe internalizing a lot of the chaos of the world around me, of my own life, right? Things going wrong. I have these days, we all have these days, and it's just one thing after another, isn't it? And you get to that last thing, you like knock over, a glass of water or whatever, and you just lose it, or you just start crying, right? That's me. I'm like, I want to be cool as a cucumber all the time. I just want to chill out and let things go, let it roll right off my back, but nah. I will be standing in the middle of the dining room crying. How did this happen? How did we get here? Is the world moving against me? And I do. I think that we all have these moments where it's like, oh, what is going on? How do we get this back on track? Do I even have the energy to get myself back on track right now? So it does. It really gives me vibes of, yeah, let's take a break. Let's take a nap. Let's be courageous and do nothing today, right? And I do. I think it's just, it is a sense of continued overwhelming situations, where usually if it's just like one thing, two things, yeah, you can deal with it. That's life, not everything goes our way. But when it is just a stream of stuff, it feels like an onslaught of, just inconvenience, of, little minor tragedies and maybe even large ones here and there. But really in this period of time, I think it's really kind of more these minor things, and they're stacking up, Now we have this fox right here. You can see the eyes, the nose, the little ears, and it looks like it's kind of hiding there in the brush. Now we also have, it looks like a tree with a face. You can see the eyes and the mouth there. Kind of a very animist, very animist looking picture here. Now we also have, it looks like, I almost imagine serving people. Here we go, a person standing here, handing something to this person. Then there's another person, like a line, right? A line of people. And as I'm looking at this with the fox, it almost feels kind of like you found yourself in this situation where things aren't as they seem. Right? Very lunar energy. Almost kind of, you can imagine Alice down the rabbit hole. You get there, you're freaking out. What the heck's going on? Stuff starts, talking and these intelligences are showing themselves to you. Things seem surreal. But I think applied to our kind of mundane life, it really is kind of this feeling of going into a situation, maybe even, showing up at a place and things just seem a little off. Like there's something going on here that's not at the surface of what I'm seeing. I'm noticing that there are kind of background channels of energy flowing through, you know, and I feel like there's kind of a sense of not wanting to be taken advantage of, you know, and I think this maybe comes from this first argument we were talking about, where you've gone to have some kind of work done on your car, and they're like over quoting you, or they're telling you, oh, this other thing's like super you know, sketchy, we better get this fixed too, and you're like, how real is this, you know? And I feel like that kind of suspicion, or at least, you know, having to kind of suss out what is actually going on here. Are they upselling me? Are they overcharging me? You know, whatever. It's carrying over to other places in your life, you know, and it is true, right? We start to question what one person's motive is, and it kind of maybe, you know, colors the lens in which we're looking at the world, right? And so I feel like you're really in a place where it's kind of, you know, feeling like there are people who have ulterior motives, right? And not only that, I just feel like there is a sense of knowing that there's something there beneath it all, right? It's one of those things where when you become a person who is on a spiritual path, I guess we'll call it, or, you know, coming to some kind of awakening, a period of kind of the veneer of reality slipping, and you're looking at things and you are seeing them differently for the first time. You are understanding that this world is so many different things. This idea of there being one empirical reality, or perception of reality and ultimate truth, maybe starts to look a little bit less plausible, right? That there are as many realities as there are observers, right? If not more, right? So, you know, you start to realize things are not as they seem, and it's kind of, it can become a little bit destabilizing, possibly a lot of fear, maybe even moments of feeling quite vindicated, like, I always knew something was up with this. This didn't seem right. I always looked at this and I thought, you know what? I don't really believe what they're telling me, you know? And so I feel it's kind of, you are in that part of your journey, your experience, where you're out in the woods, you know, and it's nighttime, and things are starting to appear quite differently, you know. Now we think of the night side as being really one that holds a lot of illusion, you know, and that is that the shadow is cast and things are kind of warped, right? They look different than they might on the day side in the light. And you know, I think that we have a tendency to think, okay, well, that, you know, means that this isn't real. What I'm perceiving, not real. It's all kind of an illusion, you know, a trick of the eyes, a trick of the light. You know, I don't have anything to be afraid of. It's all good, you know. Well, I do argue that our perceptions, although shifting and oftentimes distorted, it doesn't really matter if it's real or not, right? If you're perceiving it, it is affecting you. And so I find you in this place that can kind of be quite, you know, confusing. You're on a path of awakening, and It's sometimes, you know, you might not really know which way to go. You might be quite new in this journey as well. And so it is. I think it's very important that, yeah, you remain vigilant. You are looking for those kind of sly foxes in your life. But I also think that it is important to find things, actively search out things that seem meaningful to you. Okay, if this is religion, if this is, you know, finding a philosophy that kind of works for you, studying the occult, magic, esoteria, even things like studying the tarot. Now, you might not have interest in becoming a tarot reader, but the archetypes of the tarot, both the major arcana and the minor, are important lessons in life. These are tools that help us really contemplate our own existence, our own makeup, our place in the world, the many different things that we are and will be, have been. And so I think it's important not to just kind of live in this place of conspiracy and fear and, yeah, coming to these revelations and you know, the many things that happen when we are awakening, because you can be taken by that current, and it really can be so overpowering that you get lost in it. But to find an anchor, to find a few anchors to really look into, focus on, you know, I think that can be so very grounding. Now, you know, there are so many traditions, there are so many avenues to go down, and that's the beauty of life, that there are you know, there's such a variety. And I will warn you, though, as you get into your studies, do not fall into the trap of the infighting, right? My belief is better than yours, or because I believe this, and whatever you believe must not be right, you know. And I think that is one of the initial traps that we can easily fall into, and get really dogmatic very quickly. And so refrain from, you know, from getting into that posture of really dedicating yourself to a singular thing, at least until you have experienced and read and pondered and even maybe partaken in a variety of pathways. Okay, so, you know, I think that when we have cards like the Nine of Wands, it is ever so important to combat these energies by being proactive, right? Learning. That's the biggest tool that we have. Learning, and yes, and doing, right? Partaking in, using that knowledge that you learn and using it in a functional place so that you can become acquainted with it. Now, we can sit and read holy books and, you know, grimoires and treaties and allegories and, you know, hymns and whatever all day long, which, listen, that sounds like a good life. But unless we kind of employ it into our existence in some way, we remain disconnected from the true meanings of things. The way something looks in a, you know, more academic or just a theoretical standpoint is much different than you might feel while partaking in it, okay? You know, this is usually called like an armchair practitioner, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, absolutely not. But it is, if you are truly interested in earnest, and not kind of, you know, looking to be a historian or somebody who is, well, a critic, I guess. I don't know. So you have to get your hands dirty, don't you? And so I do. I think that this is a place where you kind of take back that power and, yeah, and kind of get out of the funk, right? Focusing on things that matter, going through that gateway. Right? Finding a meaning that can't be taken away from you. This is the thing that's beautiful about spirituality, magic, the occult, religion. Nobody can take it from you, right? This isn't like an object that we keep in our pocket. This is not a, something that can be easily punished out of you or shamed out of you or forbidden, right? And we know that. We look at, the human histories and we see people all along time have been pushing back. People have found a way, right? You think of all of these religions, including, early Christology, and so often these cults and channels of thinking and practice have had to be done quietly in the dark sometimes, right? And so these things find a way. They find a way, and so shall you, right? You come from probably, as a human being, I would say, generally, we collectively come from a long tradition of perseverance and that belovedness, that heart of fire that draws us into honoring whatever it is that drives us, right? Whatever it is that makes your heart sing, whatever it is that your soul is looking for. If you think of like a plant growing towards the sun, I have a lot of black raspberries in my yard. And if you've ever seen any kind of berry trees or bushes, I should say, you know that they have a lot of tentacles that they reach out and wrap around whatever they can to pull themselves up further and further. I have ones that are 50 feet in the air, going up the sides of trees, and they find a way. Absolutely. And I feel like this is kind of, the spirit that really is so vibrant in your life. Now you have these kind of moments where you're feeling maybe a little downtrodden from, your mundane affairs and the way that people treat each other and talk to each other and behave and all of the chaos and tedium and just being exhausted in general. And then, there's this other part of you, really trying to bring itself to the front, trying to be the central aspect of your life. And this is, I believe, your pursuit of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Now we have again a person with a sword, and I see them passing it off to this other person. Now we have the crescent. We also have the Ace of Cups above. And I feel like this is a situation where out of nowhere, kind of, there is a connection with somebody who I feel like is on a certain wavelength as you, or similar, maybe the same, right? And I wonder if you find them through some kind of media online. Maybe you even, it's like, you know, you're watching these videos, you're watching different YouTube channels about things that you're interested in, religious, occult, spiritual, self-development, whatever it is. And you find somebody who maybe really speaks to you, right? Maybe they've written books, maybe, you know, there's somebody who's more accessible or whatever, and you strike up a friendship, you know. Maybe you meet them, you know, in a chat room, or I don't know. Do they have chat rooms anymore? I know they have, there's Discord. Even this channel has a Discord. But yeah, like a place like that, I think you can just randomly meet people there. I don't know. I've never done it, but I think that you can. You know, or whatever, on one of the social medias. You know, there's a lot of ways that we can connect with people who are like-minded. And I feel like you are coming into a place where maybe you meet somebody who will be a mentor, maybe somebody who you end up being initiated by, maybe somebody who ends up being kind of a magical partner, right? But whatever it is, I feel like this other person is coming into your life. And I don't know that this is what you're seeking, but sometimes I think that Spirit, the universe, the divine, just kind of puts us in each other's paths. And if we like it or not, we end up meeting somebody who, you know, really does, and they change our lives. They change our trajectory, our, you know, maybe something that we are focused on learning about, or, well, you know, like my husband and I, we met online, you know, because we have similar interests, right? And I wasn't looking. I don't think he was looking. We just ended up finding each other. And, you know, and it took years to get to know each other. So it really, it's amazing how these things can emerge even when you aren't necessarily trying to find that thing, you know, but it does, it happens. And now I don't know that this is a romantic connection, but even more importantly, and I'll choose this every time, right? Magical connection over romance. Sometimes it becomes a romance, right? Sometimes you end up married with a kid. But, you know, it I think is important to be open to connecting with people in these ways. And it doesn't always have to be like, oh, we're courting or dating or, you know, whatever. It is, it's interesting what a friendship, what a, well, we call it building, right? Building together. What can happen when two people come together and converse. And it's as simple as that, just talking about things. When is the last time you had a deep conversation with somebody? When is the last time you spoke for hours and hours about something, digging deep into whatever the topic or the strand of consciousness is? And if you have done this, right, do you remember what it felt like coming out of that? Do you remember how inspired you felt, how open to new things you maybe felt? You know, and there is a sense of just the human need to connect with somebody who speaks your language, right? Who knows what you are about and you understand what they are about. I think, you know, it's a rarity. When you're young, you take it for granted because we're kind of put in these social situations often. And it's easier to meet people and be open with people and whatever. You get older and you have less of these opportunities. So when it does emerge, I think it's so important that we, you know, make use of it. Absolutely. So we have the number 610 right up here, 610, 610. We also have a bird. We have an illuminating candle. We have a little bit of a heart over there. Leads me to believe that we are coming up on the anniversary or birthday of somebody who's passed away. Important to your life. Gives me kind of maybe mom energy, maybe grandmother. This is a person that always watched out for you. That's the big thing here, the watcher. We also have the owl right here. So this is somebody who is always watching out for you, and they continue to do so. This is like I'm almost like they're laughing. They're laughing and they're saying like, you can't get away from me. Not in like a creepy way, but like in a, I told you I was never going to leave you. I'm always watching. Your mom's always watching you. You know, I have eyes on the back of my head. And yes, that kind of feeling. But I think that it's the most welcome one. You know, I think that this, you know, of course we all have our issues with our parents, and I think especially our mothers at times, but I think you had a pretty good relationship, pretty solid. And so, you know, feeling this energy, I think it fills you up, right? To know that mom is with me. Now, was mom maybe overbearing a little bit? Maybe had some strong opinions? Yeah. But guess what? I think you probably do too. I think you probably are not that dissimilar from mom. And I think that as you've gotten older, you have really come to realize you are your mother's daughter. You are your mother's son. Absolutely. And not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. I feel like this is a person that really, I'm imagining a really kind of down to earth and just real. Maybe, you know, at times it embarrassed you a little bit, or it was like, can you just like sugarcoat it a little bit? Can you just smooth it over and, you know, just go along with the thing, you know? I mean, imagining even this being like a parent that didn't want to lie to you. So like if you believed or wanted to believe, or your peers were like talking about like the tooth fairy or something like this, right? Mom didn't necessarily avoid these traditions, but was like, yeah, that's like a story. That's like it's a thing that people believe in. It's as real as, you know, you want it to be. But we'll do the tooth fairy thing, but I'm not going to tell you that there's some, you know, fae spirit coming and buying your bones, right? This is me, and I'm taking your tooth and I'm gonna put it in a box. But you know, it's okay for us to have you know, beliefs in magic, or at least a fondness for, right? And I think that at times like this, it was kind of like you just wanted to, you know, you wanted somebody to just tell you, yeah, the tooth fairy's real, of course. What are you talking about? You know? And I at the same time, it kind of was a wonderful gift to not have to wonder if you're being lied to about things. I think it made you more perceptive. I think it made you feel like, you know, you could suss out when things were going a little strange, right? When you were getting into that night side. And, you know, so I think that it's complex, right? Our relationships with our people, always complex. And I see that very much here. But it's not a bad thing, not at all. And I actually think your mother was probably a very lovely person. Just very earthy. Probably a Virgo or something like that, I imagine. I'm thinking, yeah, like a Virgo, maybe. I almost thought maybe a Libra. But not, I don't think a Libra so much. Maybe a Taurus. It could have been like a Taurus. I don't know. I'm not going to keep guessing. Maybe one of the 12, right? All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to flip through. I'm going to stop where it feels right. All right. It says, the divine artist. I am a vibrant creator. I express my unique vision on the palette of my life. My creative spirit flourishes when it is given freedom to influence my environment and choices. I am the artist of my life, co-creating with the divine. Co-creating with the divine. Beautiful. All right, Aquarius, I want to tell you I love you because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you, and if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel, and if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you would like to leave a comment, please do. I read them all. Also, if you're new to the channel, definitely shout it out in the comment section. All right. Okay, Aquarius. Oh, it's Saturday. I don't know. I just feel, oh, you know, it's the new moon as well today. I just feel like I am in the stratosphere. I don't know how it is. I just feel like I'm in that place in between, just kind of cruising somewhere. My mind is just, I don't know. It doesn't want to be directed at any one thing. Yeah, I think I'll go watch the sky for a little bit here in a while. So anyways, I love you. I love you. I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk soon. Good night. Good night. Good night.